Imagine you are standing in a room where a digital clock is counting down. Every second that passes, the world gets closer to the conflict that could reshape the 21st century. The clock started on Thursday, February 19, 2026. In Washington, D.C., President Donald Trump stood before a new group called the Board of Peace. He didn't use soft words, he didn't use diplomatic language. He looked into the cameras and gave Iran an ultimatum 10 to 15 days. That's it. In 15 days, Iran must sign a meaningful deal or face what he called unfortunate consequences. To you and me, that sounds like a headline. But to the military, it was a go signal. Within hours of that speech, the world's most powerful warship, the USS Gerald R started moving. It crossed the Strait of Gibraltar, entering the Mediterranean at high speed. It isn't going there for a vacation. It is heading toward a pincer move with the USS Abraham Lincoln already waiting in the Arabian Sea. For the first time in the decades, the United States has positioned two super carriers around a single nation. This is not just a maximum pressure. This is a preparation for an air campaign so large. It would dwarf anything we have seen in our life. The ghost of 1953. But to understand why this is happening now, we have to talk about a ghost. Geopolitics isn't just about what happened yesterday. It's about what happened 73 years ago. In 1953, the world looked very different. Iran had a leader named Mohammad Mossadegh. He was popular, he was elected, and he did something the West hated. He nationalized Iran's oil. He said Iranian oil should belong to Iranians. In response, the CIA and the British intelligence launched something called Operation Ajax. They didn't use missiles back then. They used money. They hired two different mobs to fight each other in the streets of Tehran. They created so much chaos that the government collapsed. The Shah was put back on the throne and the West got their oil. Why I am telling you this? Because in 2026, the Iranian regime sees history repeating itself. Today, Iran is being hit by massive protests. The people in Tehran and Mashhad are in the streets demanding change. And just like 1953, the US president is openly supporting them. When Trump says help is on the way, the leaders in Tehran don't hear a promise of democracy. They hear the echo of Operation Ajax. They believe the Board of Peace is actually a board of regime change. This historical scar is the reason they are so afraid to back down. Now let's look at the more recent past. Many people have already forgotten the 12-day war of June 2025. Last summer, tensions boiled over. Israel launched Operation Rising Lion. In just 12 days, they did what experts said was impossible. They flew deep into an Iranian airspace and decimated the most protected nuclear sites in the world. They used bunker busters, bombs to hit the underground facilities at the Fordo and the Tucks. The US eventually stepped in to call for a complete and total ceasefire, which Trump announced on June 23, 2025. For a few months, the world thought the Iran problem was solved. But history shows us that you can't bomb away an idea. Even though the buildings were destroyed, the knowledge remained. Iran didn't stop. They just went deeper. As we sit here in February 2026, US intelligence warns that Iran is 1 week away from having enough enriched uranium for a weapon. This is why the June 2025 war failed. It was a phase one that didn't finish the job. Trump is now saying that the 15-day ultimatum is the final chance to avoid phase two, which wouldn't just be a 12-day war, but the total neutralization of Iran's military power. This brings us to current mess in Geneva. There is a deadly gap in the information we are getting. The US is telling the world that a deal must be zero enrichment. That means Iran cannot process any uranium even for power plants. It's a total surrender of their nuclear program. But here is the weird part. Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi just went on television and said the US hasn't actually asked for zero enrichment in private. He says that they are talking about peaceful guarantees. Who is telling the truth? If the US is publicly demanding one thing but privately discussing another, the margin for error is zero. If the 15-day run out and there is no return proposal on the desk of US envoy Steve with of and the board of peace will disband and the board of war will take over. We are seeing a messaging war where both sides are trying to look strong for their own people. But in geopolitics, when two sides stop speaking the same language, the guns usually start talking for them. While the carriers move and the diplomats argue, the most important story is happening inside Iran. Iranian Rial has collapsed. Inflation is over 30%, sorry, 60%. Imagine going to buy a bread and the piece has doubled since yesterday. This economic pain has triggered the January Uprising. Unlike previous protests, these aren't just about politics, they are about survival. The social contract between the leaders and the people has expired. In Washington, analysts are saying that the regime is at its weakest point since the 1979 revolution. This is a hidden lever the US is using. They aren't just threatening Iran with aircraft carriers. They are waiting for the country to collapse from within. Trump's strategy is simple. Put so much pressure on the outside that the inside finally breaks. He is betting that the Iranian leaders will be so afraid of their own people that they will sign any deal he puts in front of them. It is a high stakes gamble with millions of lives in the balance. So what happens next? We are approaching day 5 of the 15-day window. The make or break moment is this Thursday, February 2020, February 26, 2026 in Geneva. The US has issued a brutal 48-hour deadline for Iran to submit an written proposal. No more talking, no more constructive discussion, just a piece of paper. If the paper doesn't arrive or if it doesn't meet the US demands, the diplomacy ends. The clock will run out on March 6th. If we reach March 6th without a deal, the Board of Peace will have failed. We will see the USS Gerald R and the USS Abraham Lincoln launch their aircraft. We will see the air bridge from the Azores to the Middle East become a highway for bombers. This isn't just about a nuclear deal anymore. It's about who gets to decide the future of the Middle East. It's about whether the Board of Peace can actually create peace or if it's just a fancy name for an ultimatum. The world is watching the calendar. In 10 days, we will know if we are entering a new era of trade and stability or if we are about to witness the largest air war of the 21st century. This is the reality of February 2026. The stage is set, actors are in place, and the clock is still ticking, ticking. Let's meet on another beautiful and interesting video. Until then, it's bye from Bharat. Bye bye. Have a nice day.